Welcome. I'm Nolan Pleche, a lobbyist for the League of Oregon Cities. Establishing strong relationships with state and federal lawmakers will make the difference when your city has a project or program that needs funding. In this video, we'll focus on key strategies that will help you build and foster strong relationships with these lawmakers and their staff. The first step in this process is to identify your specific state and federal representatives. For a detailed explanation on how to do this, check out our Legislative Basics video, which is included in this Lobbying 101 Toolkit. Building relationships with lawmakers starts with two things: timing and communication. Let's look at some key strategies and tactics to employ as you build relationships with your state legislators. First, get a head start. Once a legislative session gets going, legislators have limited availability. If your legislator is newly elected, reach out and set a meeting in the period after they are elected and before the session starts. For incumbent legislators, reach out and connect with them well before Election Day. Next, you'll want to attend their town halls in person. This shows your interest in what they're doing in Salem. It's a wonderful way to get one-on-one time with your legislator and to show that you care about their efforts. Lastly, sign up for your legislators' newsletters. These are highly effective in helping you understand what your legislator is working on and what's happening in Salem. Now, let's look at strategies for effective communication with your legislator. Rule number 1. Your first communication should not be a request. Imagine meeting a new neighbor for the first time and they immediately ask you for $1,000. It doesn't matter what it's for. You have no relationship established and likely won't give them the money. The same goes for a legislator. When you meet your legislator outside of a legislative session, invite them to a tour or event in your community, to one of your city council meetings, or a sit-down meeting in your city. This is a great opportunity for a general one-on-one to get to know them, highlight your community, and/or show the challenges your community faces. Finally, when you do meet with your legislator during a legislative session, remember that you'll often only have about 15 minutes. Take a few minutes at the start for pleasantries and make sure to acknowledge the limited time. If you have a request, it's much easier to make your ask now that you've begun a relationship with them outside of the legislative session. Close the meeting by offering yourself, your staff, and your city up as a resource to their office. You can also suggest finding time outside of the session for a longer conversation. Now, let's focus on ways you can build strong relationships with legislative staff. First, treat staff with respect and as equals. As gatekeepers, staff are vitally important to the work of legislators. Similar to a legislator, invite staff members to visit your community. Inviting them to a council meeting or city event shows you respect them and want them to learn more about the communities their bosses represent. Be kind, patient, and courteous with staff and treat them as an extension of the legislator. If you can't get a meeting with the legislator, offer to meet with staff. It's okay to provide staff with critical information. If there are multiple staffers, ask questions to identify the correct staff person to connect with. Share enough information for the staffer to gauge next steps. If you are too vague or unwilling, chances are they won't be as helpful. Keeping them informed shows you respect them regardless of their position, age, gender, race, or experience. Empathize with them. Staff often experience tough conversations with constituents and/or lobbyists every day. Listening to them goes a long way and builds trust. Lastly, be patient. Staff have busy workloads and can get overwhelmed, especially during a session. This does not mean you have to sit and wait, so offer a time to follow up or ask if there is a better time to connect. When it comes to building relationships with your federal delegates, here are some unique points to consider. First, because meeting with federal delegates is more challenging since they are often in Washington, D.C., use their in-district visits as an opportunity to meet them. Go to their town halls and work with their staff to either identify locations or to find a moment on their calendar to get a one-on-one when they are in or near your community. Second, focus on connecting with their district staff who will be an invaluable resource to you. Invite these staff members to your communities, town halls, council meetings, and city events. They can and will bring back information that will be helpful to their members. They are often an underutilized resource, but can prove to be a valuable relationship. Lastly, join the LOC team and other city leaders in DC for the NLC Congressional Cities Conference. It's a great opportunity to meet with the federal delegation and other city leaders from across the country. To recap, get a head start by meeting early and often. Remember, the first meeting should never be a request. Be courteous and respectful of lawmakers and their staff. Finally, respect everyone's time. For lawmakers and their staff, this is not a part-time job. Thank you for watching. Building and fostering relationships with lawmakers and staff is a crucial part of advocating for your community, and I hope you learned something today in this video. If you want to take that extra step and hear directly from the experts, please watch our upcoming video where we ask legislators and staff questions about their experience building relationships.